Upper Arlington is considered to be one of the nicest and safest suburbs in central Ohio. That was certainly the case more than 30 years ago.
At night, you'd always get your impromptu games of kick the can, and you'd be running out. Yeah, it was dark, but we were all there, and it was fine.
That is until 8-year-old Asenath Dukat went missing, never making it home after school. Her body found 3 hours later in a ditch, killed with a 20-pound rock, and no one ever arrested in the case.
It's just such a troubling thought to know this is still an unsolved case.
Mary Ruth Subert was Asenath Dukat's third-grade teacher, one of the last people to see the 8-year-old alive. She left school, walked home, but word spread quickly. She never made it there.
I knew before I left school that she hadn't gotten home, and I knew, and I went home and kind of stayed by the phone.
An all-out search turned up very few clues. Hours passed. Asenath's teacher felt powerless.
I'll go over to the library, and then I'll go down toward her to her house. And I went in the library, and they said, the police have been here. They know she's not here.
So she headed to the little girl's neighborhood. It was too late. Sini, as her friends called her, was gone.
Before I got to her house, the neighbors stopped me. I'm so sorry.
I'm fine.
And they said, well, they found her body. They knew by that time.
30 years later, and now 81, this teacher still has trouble coming to grips with the loss. For her, each and every one of her students was family.
No. We're staying alive.
The following days, both heartbreaking.
Those last few days, yeah, right. It's obviously. I think the principal said, well, let's take the desk out of the room, which I think is what we did.
And scary. A killer was still on the loose.
I don't know how many times the police drove around the building that day. I couldn't begin to count.
We had policemen come in to the schools and talk to us, and it just kind of took some of our innocence at that point.
Deborah Talbot was in the 5th grade at the time. She said the murder changed the entire community.
There was a bright orange, neon orange piece of paper with a big black spot in the center, and people would put that in the front window of their home if that was a safe spot.
Math and English took a back seat to safety. When Mary Ruth got back to the classroom the following year, all those emotions came pouring back.
I know the first day of school in the fall, I was in my room putting messages up on the bulletin board, and the newspaper was there with their cameras, and, start of another year.
Asenath Dukat, described by friends and teachers as somebody who is extremely friendly but could be quiet and shy. One thing that wasn't quiet, her death. Those reverberations felt here in Upper Arlington even to this day with that unsolved murder case. One thing also that's very loud and clear, just how much this little girl meant to so many people. This is a tree that was actually planted in her honor. It still grows today as a show of just how much everyone loved her. 30 years after a little girl's death, some reflect on just how much was lost.
And you're a kid, and you're supposed to not have to worry about anything, and that definitely changed things, and then that's affected how I am as a parent today.
Deborah says from tragedy comes teaching.
But I have told them that, this happened when I was a little girl, and it's happening more now. It's more on the news. It's more prevalent.
And now, 30 years unsolved, these two want the same thing for the family and for the community.
I can't imagine the pain that the family must feel not being able to have a sense of closure.
And the sad thing is, I think for the family most of all, there's no closure. There's no closure.
Marcus Thorpe, NBC4.